All right, welcome to another episode of the Bean Apple Week 6 Jets, Giants, Patriots preview. We're going to dive into the games to come. I'm going to vent a little bit more about the Jets at the end because there's still some shit that I'm pretty pissed off about. Uh, his name rhymes with Adam Gase, so uh, but I'm going to save that for the end. Really let it kind of bubble up throughout. So we got John, we got Jim back, our Giants and Patriots respective experts in the civilian world. So how you guys doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm I'm good.
Good
Doing
to be
good.
back. Good to be back. I missed you
Yes,
guys.
it's good to
Yep.
have you back. So
That's right. That's right.
yeah, so for the fans, before we dive into it, we're going to get pretty deep into this one. So please make sure that you subscribe and like the show. Make sure you're following us and sticking with the updates. We put out a show every week. So there's always content coming out. So make sure that you're following us and helping us grow, and because it's going to be entertaining. So get on board early, and you're going to be pretty happy with it. So with that, let's begin with the Patriots. We haven't seen them in a while, so let's dive back in. Catch us up on the news, John.
All right. So Broncos at pass this Sunday at 1. Sir Cam Newton will be returning. So him and Gilmore were both practicing today. So that is a huge plus for the Pats offense and D. Glad they were healthy. Glad they stayed healthy. Glad they were able to come back. But now it's time to concentrate on football. So I don't think we're going to see what we've seen against Kansas City as far as the quarterback play. Cam's back. I'm sure he's rested up. He's going to be, rearing to go. And I'm excited. I can't wait. I really wish we would have seen Cam play against Kansas City. And now that I'm talking about Kansas City, I'm just going to throw this out. Joe, I hate your Jets even more today because Bell signed with friggin' the Chiefs. I hate the Jets more than ever now, and that's all I'm going to talk about the Jets until we get to you, because I'm really pissed off that they signed him because, come on, seriously? That's like the Pats a couple of years ago getting Moss for nothing. Now I know how the football world feels when greatness continues to pull great players to them.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to Denver and the Pats. It's like a 9.5 spread. I'm willing to bet, and I don't bet ever on the Patriots, but if this is a game that you should, this is it. Belichick's had a couple weeks to prepare. There's no way Denver's going to come in and beat us. Melvin Gordon just had a DUI or suspected DUI, whatever they're going to call it, but he did practice today, so that may be telling us that he is going to play. If not, grab Lindsey in fantasy leagues because Denver's going to have to control the ball. Because Gilmore is back, so he's probably going to be, I'm assuming, on Judy the whole game, right? Or because Noah Fant's still on the injured list. I don't know if he's practicing. I don't know if he's going to play.
Yeah, they're saying he's 50-50 right now.
So I'm sure they're getting ready for Gilmore to be on Judy. But again, him just having COVID-19, they didn't say too much about his health. They didn't say if he was. If he had the symptoms after the first day. I know he was asymptomatic at first, so I guess we'll see come game time. But I don't think Belichick would play him if there's a risk at him not being 100%. But I see him on Judy, and then what else is Denver going to do? Even with Gordon, then they'll stop Gordon. One of the two, someone other than their two stars on offense will have to beat them, and I just don't see that. I don't. And with Cam coming back, fresh legs, I can't wait to see him play. He's excited, and I'm predicting a well-oiled machine on Sunday. I really am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really, I think about how they played last week without Cam, right? And really, they were in the game, and they should probably had a good chance to win that game. And I think going against Denver, I don't see them having any chance. If they play like they did last game and with Cam coming back, yeah, I don't even think it's a fight, really. I think they'll run right over Denver. So
yeah, you don't know what's to come with this team. There's so many question marks. We don't know if Drew Lock's going to start right now. It's looking
like he is, yeah.
But yeah, nothing definitive there. Yeah, you got Font. He's 50-50 to play. He's tough to deal with if he's actually in. And then I'm expecting a Melvin Gordon suspension to come down. I mean, from what I was reading, what was he doing? Like 73 and a 35 drunk or something?
Yeah,
like
it was
that?
like 25 to 45 miles an hour over the speed limit drunk
Yeah.
in downtown Denver.
Yeah. So just I can't see the NFL just sitting on this and letting it happen. It's gotta,
Nor the
somebody's gotta,
team.
right.
I'm shocked the team hasn't said anything. I mean,
Exactly.
what precedents are they setting if they let him play?
Right. You see that all the time is the first, as soon as an infraction happens, the team instantly either cuts the player or suspends them. And Melvin Gordon's practicing.
Right.
Drunk driving, and he's practicing. Like,
Yeah.
it should be the Philip Lindsay show this week, and I'm expecting it to be. But I'm really surprised there's not more outrage, just period, for the fact that there's been nothing for him yet. That's wild to me. But yeah, I know, John, you loved Denver coming into this.
I
season,
did. I did like them, but boy, they don't.
They're gonna get steamrolled, I think, this week.
They had a couple tough injuries though. They did lose Von Miller at the beginning of the year. They did lose Sutton too, so they've lost some key pieces to that team. And I did like Denver a lot, and Drew Lock was hurt too. So I guess their depth isn't as good as probably they hoped. But to me, losing your quarterback, starting wide receiver, and definitely your anchor on the defense is definitely going to put a damper on it. I thought Denver was going to be a lot better. They may have, who knows, but not right now. Not right now.
But they've got that early game on the East Coast. It's over. Just
That's right. Yeah.
But Judy's, I feel bad for him. He's had a couple good games, but Gilmore should be on him, and he should be shadowing him. And
absolutely,
that puts Patrick in a good position to succeed this week. So we'll see if he steps up again, because he destroyed the Jets. He's got speed. He's got good hands, a lot of talent. He's not as good as Judy, but if Judy's covered by Gilmore, then he's got it. And you don't have Faint. He's going to have a big game if you're playing daily or have fantasy. That would be a good one, because they're probably going to be throwing a lot in this game, trying to catch up. I expect Cam should be able to handle this defense pretty easily. We'll see, but it's still, the Patriots receivers are not helping him out at all. They're not helping any quarterback out at all. Edelman, with that bad interception we talked about last week, taking his eye off the ball straight through his hands for that easy pick six. N'Keal Harry's not doing what he's supposed to be doing.
No.
And I don't really know who else is the wide receivers on this team right now. Somebody's got to step up and be that true number one, and it should be Harry, but I don't know what it is. He doesn't look comfortable in the offense. No
one is stepping up, and that's part of the problem. I mean, you got Bird, you have an undrafted player, an undrafted free agent. You got Jacoby Myers, another guy who's never drafted. You got Marquise Lee, who still hasn't seen the field. He's questionable for this game. We're probably not going to see him ever. And then you have Gunnar Oswalski. That's another common name at this Patriots core. That's why, and I was texting my brother before the show, and I said, I'm kind of pissed off we didn't try to make a bigger move for Bell, because at least it's somebody to throw to. Maybe team him with James White and throw it to them two all game, make the linebackers play up a little bit, and then maybe these wide receivers, maybe Harry can get some separation. I don't know, but we just have nobody to throw to. So I think you're going to see, Cam rushing for a lot of 3rd and 4s, 3rd and shorts, hopefully a lot of shotgun, hopefully a lot of James White, because James White's back now too after his dad's funeral. So, I see a heavy dose of the running game again. Now which running back? Don't ever take a running back for the pass for fantasy, because one week it's going to be Williams, the next week it's going to be Burkhead, the next week it's going to be Michelle, and then a little dose of the White. So I guess I see why we didn't try and trade for Le'Veon Bell, because the reports came out that they actually did try and trade him to New England, which is an absolute joke there. I mean, why would you ever trade him into the division? That's just, sorry, that's the second time I've mentioned the Jets, and I said I wouldn't. I apologize.
Well, if it was for a 5th round pick,
I heard it was for a 6th.
Oh, so then it would have been safe.
Yeah, it would have been safe.
I bet you Joe Douglas was over there, and Bill called up. It's like, hey, we'll give you a 5th for Levy. And he's like, let's just cut him.
Let's just cut him. We wanted a 7th. We wanted a 7th.
No, a 5th will be the best running back in football for the next 10 years in New England.
It's sickening. But a big shout out. So with Denver playing New England, old friend of mine, I know I talked about it before. His son is the long snapper for Denver. I hope I don't see him a whole lot on the field because that means that Denver's scoring. But probably my favorite Denver Bronco will be Jacob Bobemeyer this weekend. Look for him. He's the long snapper. I knew him in Japan when he was like 2 or 3 years old, I think. So just a really cool story. So it's too bad I talked to his dad to see if his dad was going to travel out here. And of course they can't, and then I was going to see if I could kind of meet up with him and maybe get on the field. But of course, none of that's happening this year. So quite unfortunate that his dad can't travel with him, this year because of COVID, but hopefully one of these years they travel up here and maybe get them on the show.
Right. Yeah, you could have did a live feed right from the 50-yard line.
Exactly. I mean, I
what an opportunity.
See that?
Yeah.
Damn COVID.
Maybe if he's still the long snapper for the Broncos in 8 years when they come back again.
I'm sure he will be.
Yeah.
Sure he will be. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm hoping for.
Long snappers probably have pretty successful careers. So
as long as you can maintain, as long as you can maintain, because you really can't hit those guys anymore. You know what I mean? You really can't. So I'm hoping, I'm wishing him a long and illustrious career with Denver or whoever he plays for. And then when he comes to New England, we'll be powerful by then on this show. Yeah. Man, we'll be live from the 50-yard line, like you said, and
you'll have
we'll get some callers.
You'll have the little earpiece in. Hey guys, thank you. It's going great here. Thank you for asking.
That's why we're practicing now, right? For the
exactly. Yeah. Tom Brady will be 56 years old, and he'll be the quarterback in New England.
Yeah, he'll be the quarterback for the expansion Montreal Juggernauts.
But so my points for this week, I'm going to say New England. Let's go New England 31, Denver 17.
He's calling a score. Wow.
31-17.
So that's pretty.
So you think they're going to score 17?
Maybe towards the end.
Maybe garbage points. Okay.
Garbage points. I mean, I think it's going to be a blowout, so you have to kind of figure in some garbage points.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, the Patriots might get to 17. I mean, it's a shot.
31, Joseph. 31.
Oh, for the Patriots.
There you go.
I thought you were betting with your head, not your heart.
Oh, I'm betting with both this week, baby.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what Cam can do. He still has not. I wanted to see him against Kansas City just because he hasn't had that game yet to where he's really had to come out on his own. Like he's had pretty easy matchups to start out. He had the Kansas City game where he would have had to have been, an offensive player in it, and we didn't get to see that. So now it's back to another team that's not all that scary. So he should be able to control it easy. But I really want to see if Cam is still Cam of old, or if he is like kind of what we've seen in Carolina the last couple of years, just that, mediocre can get it done quarterback. And I think New England probably wants to see it too, to decide what they're going to do with him in the future. You don't want to lock him up for a 4 or 5 year contract. Then it turns out he's just your placeholder quarterback that's just hanging in.
We do play San Fran next week. I know San Fran has kind of looked a little shady the last couple of weeks, but that's what the Eagles said. I'm looking forward between him and Jimmy G. That's going to be, you're right. That's what the Eagles said. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but I'm looking forward to them playing the Niners because, I mean, Bill knows Jimmy G. He knows his weaknesses. He knows his strengths. So I'm curious to see how that 49er defense will hold up. But, I mean, Miami absolutely toasted him last week. So let's hope we can.
Yeah, you got a tough stretch coming up with the Niners.
Sure do.
Then the Bills.
Yep.
Then at the Jets, watch out Cam Newton, and then the Ravens. So, yeah.
I'm looking forward to the Baltimore game. That's going to be the true test, to be quite honest. That and Buffalo. I think the Buffalo game will be as well, but I think Buffalo is kind of, after Tuesday night, I think they realize that they just can't go out and show up and not play their game because Tennessee rolled all over them, especially after not practicing. Jesus. Game was terrible. It really was. Yeah. Both sides of the ball for Buffalo. But sorry.
I'll go with you. New England's going to win this game, and they should win it pretty pretty easily, pretty comfortably. And I'm going to
Mhm.
continue to hold out for my boy, N'Keal Harry. Forks up. Let's go,
I
buddy.
hope so.
Wake
Hope
up,
this is a
man.
week.
Be that number one. You're the first wide receiver taken in the draft. Play like it. Like, jeez, all these
Could have
other
had Metcalf. Ah,
yeah, you could have had a lot of guys. It's but his talent is still better than them. I don't care what anybody says.
Mhm.
He's
Yeah.
super.
So why don't we talk about the game of the week in MetLife?
Yeah,
Game of the
sure.
week. Two teams combined for 1-9 record, right? I mean, so we talked last week about it being a get right game, maybe for the Giants in Dallas. So here we go again, right? Get right game for both teams, right? So you got Alex Smith coming back for Washington, got in the game last week, and at least got his feet wet again, right? And tried to get behind the wheel there and steer the ship, and then the Giants, right? So 0-5, and we're favored. When was the last time an 0-5 team was favored, right? They're the favorites. They're laying 3 points at home. So right off the bat, I'm going to say yes. Yes, I'm taking the Giants. Yes, I think the Giants win this week. And, the Giants, I really thought, in the recap we talked about, they should have beat Dallas, right? I think they really did some good things last week on offense, scoring some points. Fackrell had a great run back on an interception, 46 yards, fought for the yardage, fought for the touchdown. I'm hoping that's going to carry over this week. I look at Washington's the offense, right? So Smith has McLaurin, right, which I'm sure Bradbury's going to be covering, hopefully blanketing him. And then after that, who does he really have to throw to, right? He's got a bunch of kids, Thomas and Wright, and they have a couple of catches. I think they have maybe a touchdown each or whatever it is. I think they have 4 TDs among the receivers. Washington, like I said, I see Giants winning the game. I think it's going to be about how well our defense can hold up, how well we can get in there and get after Alex and make him move around and hopefully make him a little nervous and make him make some mistakes because they have been doing it. I mean, I look at teams, what they did against the Rams, right? So the Rams beat Washington 30-10. The Giants, it was a 17-9 game, right? They played them, I think it was even back-to-back weeks. Giants played them much tougher than Washington did. And Fackrell, like I said, was right in Goff's face. And really the defense held them down, to 17 points. So I have to use that as some kind of measuring stick. Granted, Giants have only been averaging 16 points a game, second fewest among the NFL there. But
Who's the first?
Somebody else.
Sorry, we'll save that.
The Adam Gases.
Yeah, the Gases. Yeah, that team.
Gases.
Yeah. But so I think the challenge, right, is going to be Chase Young, right, and keeping him out of the backfield, right, and can we hold that line up and hold them off? Because that's going to be the key. That's going to be the key for Jones. The struggles with Jones has been holding the ball too long and making mistakes and fumbling the ball and getting stripped and getting sacked and whatever. And I talked about, 1,000, 2,000, take off and run, right? And hopefully he's going to have his head on a swivel and be watching out because in reality, they held back Donald with the Rams, right? So they were able to keep him off Jones. And, we got to find ways to get Slayton and Tate and Ingram open. And John, you weren't on the last show, but I mean, so Garrett opened up his bag of tricks, right? We did do some trick plays, 2 TDs called off because of penalties that were kind of, not right. I wouldn't have called either one, maybe not the other, but so hopefully they do open up the tricks again. I mean, this is a home game. We got to get a win. We cannot keep going. We can't lose again here. And then next week is the Eagles. It would great to be 2-5. And in all likelihood, we said this too. So Giants are 0-5 in last place. And in 2 weeks, if they beat Washington and Eagles, they could be in first place at 2-5 in the East. At 2-5 in the East because you got Dalton in Dallas. I'm not betting on Dalton for nothing. and Washington and Philly aren't doing anything. So it's just a terrible division, and I'm hoping that they somehow find a way to win this week. I think if we take the momentum from last week, I think we pull this game out. I do look at Ron Rivera versus Joe Judge too. Rivera's got a lot of experience, right? Judge is new, but man, they got to get Judge a win. They got to get him his first win, and I really thought it would have happened last week in Dallas with Garrett going down there, but I really think this is a week. And I know I said that 5 weeks straight, but I did put on my Eli. I got Eli on today. I took my Strahan off. I put Eli on. So I'm trying to change it up a little bit.
Yeah, but Jim, unfortunately, Eli's not playing New England.
Oh, he's not?
So looking at some of the stats before we got on. So looking at the Giants offense, they're averaging less than 80 rushing yards a game.
Yeah.
Jones is the leading rusher with 130.
Sick.
The one thing Washington can do is penetrate that offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And the Giants O-line didn't look as bad last week, but Dallas's defense also sucks. You know what I mean? So, I however it goes, I think it's going to be low scoring. I think with Allen starting for Washington this week, he knows the offense already. It's basically the offense that they ran down in Carolina. He didn't do absolutely terrible last year. I just, I thought Dante Freeman would start getting on the horse a little bit. He's only averaging about 11 carries a week, I think.
He had a great run last week, though. At the end of the game,
he did. He
moved that pile into the end zone for the
absolutely. So that is a plus for him. It's just, will that line be able to do that the first 3 quarters, not the fourth, when the defense is a little tired? So I think it's going to be a close one. And it's funny. When I was thinking about this game to pick, I picked Washington because of Ron Rivera. And just like you mentioned it, Ron Rivera has the history. But I mean, if it ended up 16-13, the Giants, it wouldn't surprise me, because I just don't see it being a very high-scoring game. There's not a whole lot of weapons on both sides. It's just, man, that what the Giants are known for with their rushing. And they weren't even rushing well with Barkley at the beginning. I mean, they're known for hard-nosed football, hard-hitting defense, and you're just not seeing it this year. And I don't know if it's Judge or just the fact that, between the COVID players out and, Barkley going down is going to nuke anybody's season. Yeah. Absolutely anybody's. Mm-hmm. So I see this being close. I'll give the edge to Rivera only because his quarterback has been in the system a little bit. And unless Jones starts running more, I don't see where the offense is going to come from. I mean, something has to spark the Giants, and it has to start at the quarterback, and he's still just not running. But I mean, granted, he has 130 yards, but over 5 games, my God, he could probably be getting that every 2 games, and not saying that's the right way to go, but this season, I think it is. So, I don't know. Plus,
we talked about that in the last show. Is Jones needs to run because that offense has weaknesses. And if Jones starts running, the defense has to be honest. They can't double cover. And Jim, we talked about it last week. Ingram is faster than hell. Like, he is the fastest tight end I've seen in a long time. And especially when you're doing sweeps with him, and reverses, you don't do that with a tight end. What tight end is taking reverse sweeps? You don't ever see it. And he looked like a regular wide receiver in there. So, they got a little creative last week, but you let Jones start running. Now all of a sudden Slayton's getting, one-on-one coverage, opening up some holes out there that they could hit him, because he's the moneymaker.
Absolutely.
Slayton is by far the most talented offensive weapon on that team, and they're not using him. So if they can find a way to do that and get him involved and get that offense to open up. And why can't Daniel Jones run for 50, 60 yards a game? He should be able to pretty easily.
Easy.
And especially if they're falling back and luring him into tight throws, take off and run, pick up 12, 15 yards.
Right.
That's going to change things. That's going to change how the defense reacts to you. And Chase Young's going to be tough to stop, but he's kind of slowed down a little bit. Also, he's only got a handful of 2.5 sacks. He's bringing pressure. He's somebody to worry about. But if Devontae Freeman can get going a little bit more. We talked about that last week as well. You're kind of seeing that life coming back to him. Looks like he's getting back into football shape and getting his legs. And if he could do that, if he could push a nice, 80, 90-yard game on the ground, Jones can break a couple, loosen up that defense, and then just start picking them apart. It's going to be easy. It should be an easy Giants win, but you're going back to Alex Smith. Those nerves are, the rust should be shaken off a little bit. He's been starting with the ones all week, hopefully in practice if he's starting. So
yeah, let me see who's starting. Let me look this up.
Yeah, I thought he was, but
I thought he was.
I thought the other guy was still dinged up. I thought.
I think Allen is still hurt. So I think Alex Smith is starting. If he's starting, he's a better quarterback than both of them, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And he's proven. So I would say. My question would be, who is going to stop McLaurin? Like, we've seen him,
right.
That team is going to have to throw, and Antonio Gibson, the running back, he's been a lot more involved. He's been catching 5 or 6 balls a game, rushing for 70 to 80 yards a game the last few. So they're incorporating him all the way. So he's going to be your focal point for the defense. Him and Terry McLaurin, they're just going to force feed him. They're going to continue to force feed him because you get the ball in his hands and he is fast. Yeah. So
right. That's the problem.
So that's going to be your two in my opinion. That's going to be the Giants' major need is going to be to stop Gibson and McLaurin. If they can do that, this game should be very, very easily in hand. You need to let Jones, take the reins off of him a little bit. Let him do some things. Let him get the ball to Slayton, because it's going to be Slayton versus McLaurin. That's going to be your decider. Who wins?
Right.
Who wins that is going to be who wins this game, in my opinion. But I think we talked about it and we kind of teased a little bit, Jim, in the recap coming into this is and you talked about it in the beginning of this, is the Giants getting into first place, and I can very easily see with the matchup that's coming up and how the other teams are matching up, them losing and the Giants winning. And
stranger things have happened.
And in 3 weeks being in first place or tied for first place, it's crazy to say, but then when you actually look at it and break it down,
it's the schedule.
It's not impossible.
They have every it's in front of them.
Yes.
Right? They can control it.
You're playing teams that you can beat. And those teams in your division are playing either division games or teams that they should be losing to. So
yes,
so that would be something for them to go from talking about the number 1 pick in the draft to first place in 3 weeks. Like that is in week 6. We're talking about
that's right,
a team that's fighting for the first or second pick in the draft, and in week 9 we could be talking about the first place New York Giants. Like that.
John's loading up his.
So I'm glad you're saying that, because
it's 2020.
So I get it, and who knows? Maybe a 5-11 team will make it. But if I'm a fan of a 5-11 team that's going to now draft in the 20s somewhere, I don't know if I want that. Because what are they going to do in the playoffs? And I'm talking any team from the NFC East right now, any team,
but
whoever it goes.
Somebody has to win.
I completely agree, but I would rather win. Like, if I'm going to win 5 games, I'd rather win 2 and maybe try and get the second or third pick. I mean, you already got your quarterback. Build on that team. I mean, what a 4-12 team going to the playoffs. You get shellacked by somebody, and was it really worth it? I don't know. Or you make the greatest story of all time, saying a 4-12 team won the Super Bowl, and there's Eli Manning on the friggin' sidelines against New England. Jim, I will drive to New York and try and beat your ass is what I'm trying to do.
I like that you said try.
Try, because I mean, I've never met you, Jim, so I don't know how big you are, man, but I'll tell you what, I'm going down there with a Patriots jersey. You get a Giants jersey on, and we're fighting in the street. That'll be a show. I don't even dislike you, Jim, but I'd be mad at you for that one, man.
We're definitely going live for that. I will get
pay-per-view.
Yes,
a couple middle-aged guys fighting in the streets of New Jersey. We'll probably slip and fall before we even hit each other.
Right, two broken hips when you both swing and miss.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess it could go either way. But a 5-11 team win a Super Bowl wouldn't surprise me this year. Holy shit, it wouldn't. Yeah. But wow, it's just crazy to even think about, because it could be a reality. Could be a reality.
Right.
Well, we'll see. So
Yeah.
so we're all saying Giants win this one.
I'm saying Washington. I'm picking Washington this week. Sorry, Jim.
He's thinking Washington +3 for a push. That's what he's thinking.
Yeah, there you go.
16-13 push.
Honestly, and I haven't looked at the scores on that, but I guarantee you it can't be much more than 3 points. I'm shocked if it's
Giants
3.
Giants 2.5.
2.5. Yeah, they're not even going to give them 3 because they're going to.
It came down. Right?
Yeah. And you won't even see that hit 3. Vegas wants to make some money on that if anybody bets on it. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's
speaking of Super Bowl.
Speaking of Super Bowl,
let's
2 teams that can't go.
The Jets Super Bowl is the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. That's what we're all in for at this point. It's got to be because I can't understand it all. So I was telling you guys, like if you haven't seen it, I did a nice quick little live rant after the Jets cut Le'Veon Bell, which was absolutely inexcusable. And this team drives me fucking crazy. But at the next day, the reporters are asking Adam Gase how he feels about his use or lack of use of Le'Veon Bell, and he says that's irrelevant now. How is it irrelevant? I understand it's irrelevant because you can't call another play to actually help Le'Veon Bell, but this doesn't detract from how shitty of a play caller he is. Like, you can't just ignore the fact because you can't just throw the baby out with bathwater and then talk about how you never had a kid. Like, you still had the kid.
Mm-hmm.
You have to acknowledge the fact that you couldn't take care of the kid, and that's exactly what his problem is. You can't just throw it out and just be like, well, no, it never happened. I don't know what to do. Like, you can't call plays. Everybody on the team talks about he's the problem, but and I went way in depth into this before, but he is the problem, and nobody in leadership knows it. And I still want to see Christopher Johnson at some point get on the stage in front of a microphone just to prove he's alive, because I'm pretty sure that they've got him held hostage somewhere and they're just making all the calls, because you don't make these kind of moves as an owner and then not show up for anything. The last time anybody's seen him was him saying that Gase has a brilliant offensive mind, and then that the very next week they're going to evaluate what the right move is. And then that's it. Let's just start cutting players left and right. And it's a disaster. So Bell
did the same thing Adams did to leave town. He kind of went to Twitter, but that's not the root cause of why Adams and both Bell didn't work out in New York. I mean, let's face it. Adams, it sounded like they fed him a line of shit and never came through on it by signing him. Never even attempted to. So they kind of lied to him. And I think that kind of set a tone in that locker room, because then you had kind of players torn, probably mad at Adams. And I think Bell went public and he was pissed off that Adams left. But I think it didn't take Bell very long to understand what Adams was kind of pissed off at. So now you got Bell. I mean, last week, what do you have? 1 target for 1 catch out of the backfield? Come on, man. You can't tell me that wasn't personal. And I'm sorry, but if you're a head coach, if you're a leader of what they carrying, 52 guys, 53 guys, whatever it is, if you're that leader, it doesn't matter if you like him or not. You could tell Gase didn't like him personally for whatever reason.
Right.
But who gives a shit? He's a top 10 running back in the NFL. He uses talents.
Yeah.
So what he did was he acted like a 5-year-old, kind of got his way, kind of pissed him off, because he probably knew sooner or later Bell's going to say something. And I think we were all texting the other night where I never heard a bad word out of Bell out of Pittsburgh the whole time. Shit, I didn't even hear a bad word out of Bell last year. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't think he was a bad teammate. I don't think he was a cancer in the locker room. It's the Gase factor, man. It's that leadership on that team. You have 2 stars. Now what's that showing anybody else who shows any talent who may want to get paid from that team? I mean, why even negotiate with them? You don't even want to stay there. And I think you said it right. I mean, overpay isn't even going to be the word. But not only that, I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head on your rant when he got released. I mean, and then what free agents are going to want to come? So regardless of how many number one picks you have, just consider them gone in 4 years, 5 years, because they're not going to stay there unless something changes. And I think you're right. They need to clear house from the GM down. I mean, what's the owner going to do? I mean,
it would have been great. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
it would have been great if there were fans this year, because you think about how many people would be in the stands this week. Nobody, half. What does that even look like?
Right.
See, the ownership, I think, right now don't have a line of sight to really how bad the fan base is, unless they watch you rant. They're not going to really know how people really feel. Mm-hmm. But I mean, if you looked at, I don't know who. I see you don't have your Jet jersey on. Is that a Saints? Is that Seahawks yet? No. Oh. So
not yet.
Oh, okay.
Not yet.
Well, not yet. It's coming. I'm telling. If I'm everyone that's a Jet fan, light up your grill, go out in the back, get a bonfire going. Everything you got that says JET, right in the fire. Yeah. Right in the fire. Get rid of everything. So I'm telling. So they need to move out of Meadowlands. First of all, get the hell out of Giant Stadium. Right? Get out of here.
I love where this is going.
Get out of here. Go out to Nebraska somewhere. Start all over. Call yourselves the corn men, whatever you want to do. It can't be corn huskers, right? Corn men.
Corn men. I love it.
And start all over. Start all over, because it's all, to me, they shouldn't be here anymore. They got to be out of here. Get rid of all your stuff. Gangrene done.
It pisses me off because I have three current NFL or Jets players jerseys. Sorry, I have one current Jets players jersey, Sam Darnold. I did have Adams and Bell, which I lost. So I had three that I thought were really going to be like I thought it was going to be a core. I thought that was going to be kind of the core for the next couple years. Thought it was safe to get their jerseys. Turns out, it was way off. But yeah, this team is. It's a mess. I don't understand. What I can't wrap my mind around is why the leadership of this team is backing Adam Gase so hard. Like, he sucks, and then he won't even give up the play calling. You see, like the little lip service thing. I'm thinking about maybe giving up the play calling. Then he said he got together with the offensive coaches and they decided that the best bet was to stay the course. What the fuck is that shit? Like you get together.
What's the course? What's the course? To crash into the ocean? Is that the course?
The course is the worst offense in football. You're telling me there's not another coach? You could get the offensive line coach to call plays. He'd probably do a better job at this point. Jim Bob Cooter, who was the Detroit Lions offensive coordinator for years with Matthew Stafford, who was in talks for a little while about getting a head coach job, and then that offense kind of fell apart. But give it to him. Like, let him fail. Give it to your actual offensive coordinator and let him give it a shot. Like, but to say that you got together with the other offensive coaches and they decided that the best plan was to stay the course on the worst offensive team in football for the last 2 years. But Christopher Johnson, tied up in a closet somewhere, is probably like mumbling, "Please fire everybody," but nobody could hear him. And then Joe Douglas is just sitting there going, "I think I need to draft another offensive lineman," and that's all he's focused on this year is, which offensive replacements he's going to pick for the O-line again, because this team is in complete shambles. But
so I know we joked about it before about Trevor Lawrence, if the Jets get the number one or any team, would he come out? You know what I see? I see the Eli San Diego Chargers situation happening, where who wants to go to this team? No Trevor Lawrence knows. I mean, his career is going to be over within 4 years if this shit keeps up. So no weapons. You don't even have Bell anymore. You have nobody there.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, do you stay in college and risk getting hurt, or just say, "Look, man, if you draft me, I'm not going there.
But
I am not
signing a contract."
So what's his other option? Stay in college again, and then the Jets have the number one pick again next year. Because, like we said,
you're right. So maybe force a trade. I don't know. I wouldn't. Like, if that was my kid, I'd be like, just sit a year out and then hope to God the Jets don't have number one next year. Because I mean, it's a toxic. You called it's a toxic environment there.
Right.
It doesn't matter who you put there right now. You could put Patrick Mahomes there. They're going to be lucky to win a game.
Right. Because the top, the top is broken.
Yes.
Your roof is broken and it's leaking everywhere. And all the players are trying to just get out of the way of the water that's rushing.
It reminds me of the Knicks. It's how the Knicks have been ran for the last 10 plus years.
Yeah.
I mean, it really has. It's just brutal.
More than 10.
Right.
But I mean, it's just what's going on in New York. I mean, normally New York is the city that. Right. I mean, the Yankees are still there, but I mean, my God, they're just.
No, you look. I was talking to my father. I was talking to my father yesterday or today. So the Lightning won the Stanley Cup, right?
Yeah.
Now you got the Rays probably going to the World Series.
Yeah.
You have Tom Brady down in Tampa. What? Everything moved down to Tampa. What's going on here? Yeah. I mean, it's just.
And nobody in Tampa gives a shit about sports.
No, nobody cares.
All they care about is going to the ocean.
Right. They're down there to watching the Yankees because we're all from New York or Boston, right? I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
They should be
what's
watching the
happening,
show right now. Is what they should be doing. But
right.
All right. So to wrap this part up quickly, and I completely agree with everything you said, John. But I think the light is that there is no chance Adam Gase survives into next year.
But is there?
He's a dead man walking.
Is there though? He should be gone already, Joe.
Right.
What are they waiting for?
That's what I mean.
So, but who do they replace him with? It doesn't. There's nothing behind that has any promise. So why not just ride it out?
Some young kid that's on the sideline now as a backup. Put him in there.
Yeah, but can it be any worse?
No,
I mean, I agree. That's probably what they're doing. It's like they talked about firing Bill O'Brien. What's the point? What's the point of firing him? Because they promoted Romeo Crumnow, and he's not going to be a head coach. That time is come and gone for him. That's why he's a defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
but I mean, but maybe to keep Bell. I mean, the owner obviously signed off on the Bell signing. Right. Had to have, right? Because the GM goes to the owner and says, "This is what I want to do." Okay, cool. So the owner was good with it. So you're going to let players leave instead of a coach that you should be getting rid of. That's the only reason why I think firing Gase now or friggin' last week would have been the best bet. Keep Bell. Find somebody who's going to play to the strengths of Bell. Right. You know what I mean?
But the worst part about that, and I haven't even talked about it, is they still owe Bell the rest of his contract for this year. They still have to pay him $6 million.
$6 million.
Why? There's no.
And then they're taking a cap hit next year for 14
for cutting him. Yeah. So why not? You're already paying the guy. Just use, even if you're not going to use him as a starter.
Yeah.
Keep him on the team. You're already paying him $6 million.
$14 million next year in dead money.
The only thing is if the Chiefs signed him to like a $3 million deal, then that cuts the Jet. That offsets what the Jets owe him. But if I was Bell, I'd be like, I'll come play for you for free.
For nothing.
I'm getting paid already.
I'm going to stick it to the Jets.
Right.
And then next year I'm going to stick it to them even more when I'm counting against $14 million in dead money, when I could be, catching 50, 60, 70 balls a year for them. Idiots.
From Trevor Lawrence. Like what a safety net that would be for Trevor Lawrence next year too, which is disgusting. But like I said, you get rid of Gase, and I don't think maybe the Rich Coty generation.
Rich Coty.
Coty, right?
Coty.
He was terrible too.
Since then, there might not be a more pressing time for the right coach to come in. Like this team is, this team is probably worse than that one was in '96. And if they don't hit it perfect with the next coach that really changes the culture and can get a spark, it's going to be bad.
They need like a Lovie Smith type coach to come in there and just take no shit and just scare people. Yeah. You know what I mean? Scare them. I'm going to cut your ass if you don't, demand the respect. And that's the kind of coach you need. I mean, Gase, I'll still never forget his press conference. That was the weirdest shit I've ever seen in my life. And I thought it was a joke on Facebook. I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
I watched. I'm like, oh my God, it's not.
And that's the ride
I don't get it. They need a hard-nosed coach, though, is what they need. And I don't know. Yeah. I don't. It's not even fun to poke fun at the Jets because it's too easy, and it's honestly not even fun. I kind of like it when teams are relevant.
It's been 50 years of failure. 50 years. So yes, really bad when well, we just got a question that came up. 50 years of failures. Rich Kotite, right, was pretty much at the bottom of where it could be. But now this is probably the worst it's been in 50 years. This is probably the worst. And for fans to still, I see guys sometimes out in the store with Jets, and I look at them like, how can you wear that jersey or the hat? What are you doing?
Yeah.
So we got a question here.
Right. Yeah, I think
you see that?
Yeah. So Anonymous, thank you for sending us a message. Where do you think Le'Veon Bell will sign? So it looks like it's not all but done yet, but it is pretty close to being done. It's being reported that he's going to go to the Chiefs and jump on that Patrick Mahomes bandwagon. So that's like we talked about. That's going to be a huge piece for them. Patrick Mahomes is going to use him like no other. He's going to be all over the place. And if you drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I'm sorry, you're going to take a massive hit. But we talked about that a couple weeks ago. He's not the running back he was in week 1. He's still doing okay, but week 1 he exploded on the scene, and since then he's just been a mediocre running back. So why not grab somebody that has the potential to be elite? And Jim, I told you about that as well. Like everybody who's left an Adam Gase offense has turned into an outstanding NFL football player. Or actually, it was Michael that was talking. It was Michael I was talking about because his boy Ryan Tannehill left. Another year there, he'd probably be out of football completely if he would have been under Gase for another year. But he ended up, he's doing great down in Tennessee. They just beat the shit out of the Bills last night, so looks good. Robbie Anderson down in Carolina is just destroying. He's the 7th ranked wide receiver in football.
Look out for Carolina; they're rolling right now too. Yeah, look out for them. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
even without McCaffrey.
Yeah, look at Devontae Parker now down in Miami. He's a top. Last year he was a top wide receiver, and this year he's doing great as well.
So really though,
he'll be back. Le'Veon Bell will be back to Pittsburgh days.
So if you believe what you're saying, and they take Trevor Lawrence and they let Darnold go, what's going to happen? Great. Darnold's going to be great. So then maybe it is just Gase goes, and you don't need Trevor. Just hold on to the kid. Right. He's young. Right. And maybe you get somebody in that can utilize him and know how to let him call plays and audible. And, he's been beat up enough back there. And you got another question there.
Yeah.
And, we'll see. But that could be the answer. I mean, like you said, I don't know who they put in now, but after 50 years of just nothing. Yep. And this is probably the worst it's been in 50 years. They'll be 0-6, they'll be 0-7, they'll probably 0 for the season. And like you said, I think Trevor Lawrence probably doesn't come to the Jets, and I think they have to go for a trade. And I don't even think they should take the quarterback. I really don't.
Now, if they do not take Trevor Lawrence, you will get a king's ransom from somebody out there because that's I was reading some of his stuff. Like he's in like the 99th percentile for rankings for scouts. Like he is that good. He's saying, he's
the next Andrew Luck. They're talking about Andrew Luck. And
he has close. Actually, I think he has a higher scouting score than Peyton Manning did coming out of college. Like he, and I know he did in high school when he was coming out of high school. He had better scouting grades than Peyton Manning did. So when you look at that type of talent, generational type of talents, if you pass on that and you miss, you're gonna regret. You're gonna live that for the next 20 years. But you're talking about like RG3 type of numbers when the Redskins traded the Rams for the rights to him and gave up 3 first-round draft picks and I think 2 second-round draft picks. It was a massive.
It was a king's ransom. It was.
Yeah, and it helped make the Rams into a legitimate team with all those draft picks. And then you look at the 2 first-round draft picks that the Jets get for Adams the next 2 years, and then you pair a couple more first-round draft picks into that, and you're building that around Sam Darnold for the next 3 years with multiple first-round draft picks. Massive, right? Like the return, what you could put on the field is absolutely staggering. But if Sam Darnold can't stay on the field, how do you and you watch Trevor Lawrence turn into Peyton Manning 2.0?
Right. So we got a question that came in. Can the Jets get draft picks for Darnold? So the question is, do they put him on the market now and just go to Flacco and, like you said, stay the course to nowhereville and lose everything, right? So maybe they get picks now for Darnold, let him go and lose everything, and then go after Lawrence and make him the starter and get some picks and load up your pool of picks.
I don't
Yeah,
think
but
you can
what do you
that.
honestly get for him, though? I mean, I agree you can get picks.
You can get a second.
I mean,
you
no
could
way.
you could get a second round pick for Sam Darnold.
I-
Absolutely.
who's going to give up a second though for him?
Well,
Where's the demand?
So I
for a
liked
second?
I liked some of the stuff I was reading was the Colts. The Colts giving up a second. They got Phillip Rivers as a stopgate there, and then you got Jacoby Brissett behind him. You don't love that. If you could bring Sam Darnold in with that offensive line for a second round pick for your future quarterback, why would you not? Why?
Yeah, but
that's
right,
a great.
But
and he'll
I
be
just
great.
don't see them. I just don't see a team giving up a second rounder for a guy who's not putting up numbers. That's where you can kind of negotiate and say, hey, I'll give you a third or a fourth.
Yeah.
I can see a third at the highest. I truly could. Probably a fourth and then maybe a future fifth or something like that, because Darnold just hasn't put the numbers up. So, I mean, everybody's going to go by stats. What's his stats? And I get he's playing on the Jets right now and they're playing terrible, but I mean, I would ask for like a third, fourth, or a fifth maybe, and then go for Trevor Lawrence. You know what I mean? But I don't know. But I think they can get picks. But what's the demand? You know what I mean? If the demand is one team, guess what? All they got to do is offer a fifth rounder.
It's not right now. I would not.
No,
I would not do the trade right now. You've got to get Darnold in there. You've got to let him start throwing. You've got to showcase what he's got, and then on top of that, you've got to wait until Trevor Lawrence declares for the draft. Because if you trade Sam Darnold right now, and then Trevor Lawrence says no, I'm staying in school. What do you do? Like you've basically.
Well, what's going to happen? What are they going to lose more games?
They're going to lose another 16 games.
Who's the next best quarterback though? What's it? The kid from
they drafted
Ohio State.
Fields. Yeah.
Yep.
He's
I mean, it'd be Fields, even though they're not playing yet. But I mean, that's who they're looking at, or the kid from Oregon State, or something like that. I can't remember.
They just drafted a kid this year, way too early, out of Florida Atlantic, Morgan. I don't remember his first name. They drafted him like 150 picks too early from what the actual value of the pick was. From Florida Atlantic, in an absolutely wasted pick in like the fourth. I think it was the fourth round. They picked him way too early, but. So they have him sitting on the bench. He'll probably never play, but it's a disaster. You really have to wait to know what Trevor Lawrence is doing before this team can do anything. And Sam Darnold has to show that either, hey, you could stick with me, I'm your quarterback, or, somebody wants him. If you can't do that, why? I mean, I guess you could just release him like they did for Bell. They don't give a shit about money or talent, so why not? All right, so another question. Joe Douglas knows that Gase is a dead man walking, so he dumped Bell with no repercussions. It'll be easier to dump Gase now. I guess that's not so much of a question.
Right. So do you agree? Do you think it'll be easier now? Do you think he let him do it just so he can cut his head off now?
I don't think so. Because I don't see why, because Joe Douglas would have had to sign off on this as well. So you can't say
exactly.
So Joe Douglas, to me, is just as at fault for this.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you say, I signed off on releasing Le'Veon Bell after 2 days of trade requests? They said for the last 2 days,
it's months. It's been months they've been trying.
Well, the story said they sat down Monday and talked, and then they tried for 2 days to find a trade partner and couldn't, so they just let him go after 2 days of looking, when they owe him the rest of the year's salary. Nothing makes sense, and that's why it makes me question Joe Douglas just as much as Adam Gase, because these guys are supposed to be a tandem. They're the ones making the decisions at the top. So if Joe Douglas says, I'm just going to eat $6 million because I don't want Le'Veon Bell, because he liked a tweet that said he should be traded so he could actually be utilized.
Right.
That was the worst thing he's done the entire time he's been in New York.
Right.
Liked a tweet. Like
that was just a bullshit reason. That's all it was.
Absolutely.
It was a bullshit reason.
So to me, Joe Douglas is They're both at fault. They're
Mhm.
both at fault at this. So
So they're going to punish
Gase.
him. They're going to punish him for the tweet by paying him to play somewhere else.
Yes.
That's the punishment.
Yeah.
That's the. I want that punishment. I want.
Me too.
Can I get that? How do you get that? How do you get let go? Get the hell out of here. We're letting you go, but we're going to pay you and go play somewhere else and win. Go play on a good team and win, but we'll pay for you. Well, who's
terrible.
what? How is that pun? That's not. Wow, I mean, it's just incredible. If you didn't like the guy, hand the ball off to him every down until he can't run anymore. That's how you can get back at him, and at least you got him on your team because you're paying him. Don't give him to the Super Bowl champs. That's what it's going to be, and you're going to give him to him for free, and you're going to not even give him to. You're paying for him to play over there in Kansas City. Come on, that's I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. There's got to be more to it. Maybe we'll find out in 20 years. Like I was watching Michael Jordan, The Last Dance last night. Maybe there's more stuff that you find out in 2 decades what really happened. But as of right now, no sense.
Yep. And it's all going to start with the coach. If you hope to turn this team around, you've got to get somebody in here that could light a fire and that can actually pull talent or expand and grow talent in players, because Gase can't do it. He just can't. This whole draft class has been nothing. It's been an absolute disaster. You got Becton, who, yes, graded out really well the first 2 weeks and has been hurt ever since, and nobody else is playing. They drafted P. Ryan, who didn't take a snap last week. So now Gase has got his dream. He's got his dream girl with Gore back. He has nobody in the way again. And I liked what I was watching Matthew Berry was saying. I guess not for us, but for single guys out there, find a girl, or for women, find a guy that looks at you the way Adam Gase looks at Frank Gore, and you'll never be sad. I loved it. It was absolutely perfect, because he has more of a man crush on Frank Gore than I think I do on CeeDee Lamb. Right? So
funny.
It's absolutely insane. I love it. But so we haven't broken down the Jets-Dolphins game yet. We should probably try.
Is there a need to?
What?
I mean, do we even have to?
Wait, who won?
So, who isn't amused that the Dolphins have a 9.5 point spread on the Jets? 9.5 points for the Miami Dolphins.
Well, they just trounced the 49ers.
They did, which means Fitzpatrick will probably disappoint.
He's going to throw 4 interceptions on Sunday.
Yeah.
And somehow still win by 24.
Because they'll have 3 pick sixes in the game.
They will.
If
you're going for a defense this week, fantasy lovers, look no further than the Miami Dolphins, and they should be available in most leagues.
Yeah. Well, let's talk. Let me try and talk a couple positive things, right? There's Jets fans out there. We need a little bit. You can't just keep beating people down, right? Eventually you just kill yourself. So, and I don't want that on my hands. So talk a little bit of positive. Let's try and find silver linings, right? Jamison Crowder has been money because there's nowhere else to hand the ball off to, but he's had double-digit catches, back-to-back 100-yard games. He's all over the field. He's the only guy that can make really anything happen. We talked about it last week with Jeff Smith, and I wanted to see what Jeff Smith could do. I didn't know who he was. He came off of IR, played his first game, had double-digit targets. He had 70 yards, I think it was. So he looked like there might be something there. Right? It was the first glimpse you got at him. Looked pretty promising. So I was excited to see what he was going to do. He didn't do anything. 4 catches, I think it was last week, on 11 targets. That's the key to that. He was still targeted 11 times. So he had 2 bad drops. One coming across the middle. It would have been an easy first down, just plain dropped it. And then an over-the-shoulder touchdown that should have been in the end, right in the end zone, dropped it right in, and he couldn't pull it in. Otherwise, I didn't catch all of them that went to him, but I was hoping to see a lot more from him, and we need somebody to step up. It can't just be your slot guy that's running the offense. That's not going to work at all. So this week, so he had 3 for 23 last week on 11 targets. So that's That's bad. I could catch more than 3, I'm pretty sure, on 11 targets. But Jets, give me a call. Adam Gase, I know you'll cut me after the first game anyway, but just give me a shot. I could do something. But this week I'm really excited. I hated seeing Le'Veon Bell get cut. Hated it. But I'm excited to see if LaMichael P. Ryan can do anything. Like I'm sure Gore will get 25 touches and P. Ryan will get like 3. Right? We got to just keep running Gore like he's something special. But you drafted P. Ryan to be the replacement for Le'Veon Bell. You've now cut Le'Veon Bell. Let him replace him. Give him the reins. Let him be your number 1. Let Frank Gore be your blocking guy, your third down short yardage guy that could punch some stuff in. But give P. Ryan a shot. Let him carry the ball 20 times. See what he can do. The Dolphins defense is okay, but it's nothing that's overly scary that you're going to be worried about. So give him a shot to take the reins of this team, and maybe he's got something that you can go to, because Gase gushed over him all offseason, all preseason about how fast he is, how explosive he is, how absolutely dominant he looked on the practice field. So give him the shot. Like, you talk about him all the time, but yet he doesn't get a carry last week and he's active. So, and you're giving him to Gore instead. So hopefully we could see that. Hopefully Jeff Smith can catch more than 3 passes for 23 yards and Crowder keeps up his dominance, because he's going to need it. Flacco's going to be peppering the 2 of them, but hopefully P. Ryan gets something going. I don't know who's going to stop Devontae Parker this week, because the Jets cornerbacks are terrible. So if you're playing in daily or you own Devontae Parker, plug him in, because
I think I got him in 2 leagues this week. There he is. He's projected 15 points this week.
Yeah, that's not surprising. So Desir will probably be on him, and Desir has been getting burnt by everybody. So he can't keep it. He will not be able to keep up with Devontae Parker. He's too fast. So he's going to get him. So it's going to be an interesting week. It
really won't be.
No.
Well, from the standpoint,
It's not going to be.
From the standpoint of what these players are going to do. Like, are we going to see something from them? Is there going to be any light? Is there going to be any promise?
I got you.
They should all opt out. Is it too late to opt out? Can they opt out still? Or
Can they forfeit?
that deadline pass?
Yeah, CJ Mosley's just sitting at home with a beer, just laughing his ass off. Like, oh, thank God I sat this one out. Like, which he'll be nice to have back next year as well. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, 9.5 is too low, which sucks to say, but the Dolphins should really destroy us. And they've been beating the shit out of us for the last, the last 2 games. They beat the shit out of us with Adam Gase's first year in New York. Couldn't beat his old former team that couldn't win a game under him. Now he can't win a game against them, even though he should know that team pretty well. So they'll probably lose disgustingly. But,
they'll probably lose.
We'll see. So
I don't see the Jets winning this week. Not even close. Kind of like you said. Miami's coming off a huge week. Trouncing the 49ers, and I mean the defense looked really good too. So I see it being a bloodbath. It's going to continue because Gase is going to continue to call plays. So if you're going to stay par with the worst offense in the NFL, you're going to see it again this week. Where are they playing? New York or Miami? Miami, right? Okay, so it's going to be probably fairly warm down there. So dehydration factor is going to set in. It's just going to be. I'm sure you'll see plenty of Jets cramping up on purpose, so they don't have to go out there. But it's going to be a rough week for the Jets again, and it's just not going to get any better. And who knows? Maybe you'll see Gase gone after this week. But maybe, Joe, you're right. Maybe they're just going to keep him the whole year. But I just think that's the wrong thing to do. Remove the problem sooner than later.
The Falcons did it. Falcons cut bait, got rid of everybody.
Sure did.
And I thought as soon as that happened, the next day the Jets are doing the same thing. But of course not. Of course not.
How is Gase not the first coach fired behind? I mean, I get the O'Brien firing, I get that one, but he's also the GM. I think that's a shitty situation, anyways. But
Yeah.
and then Quinn over in Atlanta, and somehow Gase still has his job.
Right.
It floors me.
That's the only thing I could think is how the last couple years, before Houston started their run, you just knew every year they were tanking. When they were losing 105, 110 games a year, they weren't even trying to put a competitive team on the field and just grabbing that first round, that number 1 pick in the draft 3 years in a row, and they built a core of talent around that, and now look at what they're doing. So the only thing I could think is the only logical thing that I could come up with is that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to ensure that they do not find a spark. So you get the first pick, you get your elite quarterback, and then you start building from there. They have a lot of money. They have a shit ton of money in free agency to spend, and they're gonna have to spend it. But you know what? Maybe having Trevor Lawrence as your quarterback will entice some people to come. Maybe that'll be hey, they've got some serious talent there and a new coach, obviously. And maybe those two things will turn it around. But you have to kind of, at this point, make sure you don't find a spark, or else it's all for naught. You end up winning 4 games. That's it. It's over, right? So it's the cycle continues. So, you let this thing bleed out for a year, and then ultimately fix it, instead of this, the 5th pick in the draft, the 7th pick in the draft, the 8th pick in the draft, the 10th pick in the draft. And you're just getting these players that are just whatever, just suck for a whole year, get a Peyton Manning, and then you got something, right? You can't do anything without the quarterback. And John, that you see, 20 years of dominance because of Tom Brady. So, Eli Manning, 15 years of solid, a couple Super Bowls, and just day in.
Never
and day
missed
out.
a game, and never missed a game till McAdoo's made him sit.
Yeah.
So
Ben Roethlisberger, Drew Brees,
every team.
Peyton Manning. It's every team is viable every year because of their quarterbacks.
Yeah. So
it's a Kansas City Chiefs now.
Yep.
They're gonna be viable every year because of Mahomes.
The Ravens.
Ravens with Jackson. Yeah,
so is it worth suffering through Gase for 10 more games and having Trevor Lawrence? I would say yes. Yes, it is. I would rather have one more season of shit and then an upward trajectory instead of another number 6 pick in the draft and getting a safety or a linebacker or, another guard or something like that. Just suck it up. Jets fans, suck it up, get through this year. Maybe there'll be some light, maybe, I don't know. So, that's my rant for this.
We're both calling you now.
Again, I feel a lot better. Thank you for being my therapist through this and letting me go and letting this get off my chest, because God knows I need it. And, Jim, you're not going to have to worry about it. In 3 weeks, you're going to be in first place. The Patriots will probably be still in playoff contention.
Of course they will.
So,
Buffalo's playing Kansas City's this week. There's the 2 losses. We're about to be even in the loss column.
Right. Mm-hmm. So there you go. So I've got nothing. So I just, I appreciate the time to just let it all out, and it keeps me sane. So, all right. What do you guys got anything else you want to discuss, talk about?
That's it. Yeah. That's it.
All right. Well, so that was our first live show. I don't think you guys knew that, but we were live on YouTube the whole time. So
Excellent.
Yeah, I didn't want you guys to get nervous or anything like that.
Not at all.
And, clamming up on me, so I just kept it a secret till the end. So that was our first live show. So for our participants on the side there, thank you for writing in and being active with this, giving us some stuff to talk about. It helps out a lot. And to end, Ken O'Brien, we could always call Ken O'Brien back again. That wouldn't be a bad
83 draft, baby. That's where he came out of.
Right. So
all the monsters that year.
Yeah. So again, we're getting better at this. Hopefully I think each time we run through this, and we'll continue to get better. So please give us feedback, subscribe, like the episode. And again, can't emphasize enough, we want to hear your feedback. Let us know what's good, what's bad, what you like, what you don't like. throw it in there, help us get better. You could try and hurt our feelings if that's like the type of person you are and it makes you
Can't
feel
do
better
it.
about yourself. But yeah, I mean, me and John being military, yeah, good luck. But yeah,
Feelings, what's that?
yeah, I haven't had those in 20 years. So, but yeah, give us some constructive feedback. If you feel the need, if you feel compelled to be a dick, go ahead, let it out there. If that's what makes you feel better, we all need to vent. So otherwise, give it to us. Let us know. We want to get better, and we're obviously new at this. So thank you for watching, and thank you for participating. Thank you, John, Jim, for diving into this and having a little bit of fun. And until next time, this is the Bean Apple, and we will see you later.